Hi YouTube, ACDodd here, and welcome to another episode of On the Road Tuning with me, ACDodd. This time I've got two minis for you. Let's get right into it. Today I've got a nice 1275 GT. So, nice original looking car. Got a little bit of extra equipment added under the dash. Under the bonnet. Got a nice 1275 GT engine. So, let's dig in, see what we can find. Okay, so this 1275, I've already measured the coil, and we've got a 3-ohm coil. What I am going to do now is just measure the dwell angle. So if we look at the meter, you can see that we've only got 19 degrees there when it's idling. So what this is a variable dwell setup. So what that basically means is that coil is not getting its full energy when the engine's idling. So it's only when you rev it does the dwell angle increase. Okay. So what I'm saying here is that coil is not really the right one. So we're going to look at changing that up to a 1.5 ohm coil, so that engine gets its full ignition power when it's idling and all the way up the RPM range. Okay, so I just want to intervene here and just to let you know that you saw the dwell meter there and it was flicking about. Well, it wasn't flicking because of the dwell meter, it was flicking because of my cack-handed approach to talking and trying to make the connections at the same time. So where you see at the beginning it reads around 19, that's the right reading. And then you'll see it flick about, and that's as I'm trying to make connections while speaking. Being dyslexic, I have trouble doing two things at once. So basically that's what you're seeing. But you'll also see later on in that clip that as you rev the engine, the numbers will rise from the 19 figure up to about 50 or 45, something like that. Anyway, that's effectively a variable dwell unit. And there will be a video coming in the future regarding the review of that nice and sensible dwell meter. So got the plugs out of the GT here, and yeah, nice interesting view. I have leaned it off a turn and a quarter before I pulled the plug, so we can see that we're still a bit rich potentially, or still a little bit rich from the original setting, but we've got some interesting readings, which are they're not bad, but I just thought I'd take the opportunity to go through them just so you can see what we're looking at here. So this is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 4 looks the best in terms of burn. You know, potentially maybe a little bit more timing needed. Obviously running a little bit richer on number 3, and we're carboned up all the way around the electrode, so we need to I'm thinking because of the colours we've got potentially a little bit too much fuel. Number 2, again same thing, slightly less than number 3, and obviously number 1 looks a bit more like number 4, but still a touch on the rich side, and also burn line is showing maybe a little bit more timing needed. But when you get them and they're all slightly different, because they are, if you look at all the electrode tips, they're all slightly different. This also shows tends to indicate coil power as well. So when I took these out, they were at 35,000, so I've dropped the plug gap to 25,000, so that will make a difference on the burn. I'm also going to change the coil for a bit more thump, so that should even these up. And then obviously we need to get the engine running and check the advance curve, and then after that we can see where we need to head. So got the ignition back together. I'll put a 1.4 ohm coil on, that's all done. Made an instant difference to the way the engine went, started and runs a lot stronger. Then we turned our attention to the carburetor. So this is where we started to realise we've got some problems. So the carburetor itself is unable to control the fueling, so we've got more than a 10% swing on the fueling. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the carburetor for an ACDodd rebuilt one. The vacuum on this was also providing too much vacuum at idle. The good news is once we change the carburetor, my new carburetors come with ported vacuum modification, So that will solve the ignition advance problem we've got at idle. So yeah, then all we need to do is to dial it in. So this carb was fitted with a BDK needle and a red spring. It's got a mildly ported head, standard rockers, and an SW5 cam. So what we're going to need to do really is pop it up to a yellow spring, and we'll probably start with a BDL needle on the new carburetor, and then we'll tune from there. Okay, so I have with me the carburetor that was off that engine. So I just wanted to show you a couple of things. So let's just have a quick look here at the choke control. Now, if we look closely, you'll actually see that there is actually no spring, no return spring on that choke. Secondly, the choke itself is actually stiff, okay? So it's like the shaft's bent, or there's some issue with that, which basically means that when you pulled the choke, it stayed on. Clearly a problem. All right, so you can't have that situation on an engine, because that will overfuel the engine and obviously damage it. So the actual owner was not using the choke, and I think there was some compensation going on by having the mixture screw set richer than normal, so it would at least start. So yeah, my main reason for changing this carb is it effectively wasn't working properly. There was also a fueling issue as well, and I think there was a combination of too much pressure, as we'll see later, and obviously a worn carb. The other thing is, as I said in there, it was running a manifold vacuum rather than ported vacuum. So the difference between manifold and ported is that's manifold, and that's because the vacuum hole there is on the manifold side, the inlet manifold side. So the inlet manifold vacuum is communicated to that port, and therefore on the vacuum advance you get full advance when the engine's idling, which is a problem. So on my modified carbs, that is relocated to just behind the butterfly, so when it's idling there's no vacuum there, and obviously the engine runs better and it has cleaner emissions. So other things we had with this carburetor, inside the jet was worn, so I was having to wind the mixture up and get the jet right up to nearly touch the carburetor, which is a bad sign. So we were nearly out of adjustment. So this unit was effectively worn out, which is why we had to replace it. So we've got the engine back running again, and we've obviously fitted a rebuilt ACDodd Fast Road Ep24 carb, which is now on there. Now the owner's just said to me, wow, that idles really well. Well, check this out. Not only is it idling really well, but it's running very, very efficiently, very lean. So the point I'm trying to say is that doesn't happen unless you've got a rebuilt carb. So, you know, a rebuilt carb makes a huge difference to the way the engine runs and its emissions, and obviously the control. So, got the new carb installed. We've also found that I think we've got a little bit too much fuel pressure, so we've had to put a fuel pressure regulator in line, which is, I've only kind of put it in there temporarily for test driving purposes. The owner's going to have to sort that out once I leave, because he's got to make brackets and various other bits and pieces to get that fitted. But what I'm now doing is sorting the needle out, and what we've got is a BDR needle, and it's too lean. It's just a touch lean at 3000, but it's quite lean at 4,000 and 5,000. So I'm just modifying it. We'll get that back in, and we'll see how it runs. So got the BDR needle in the needle lathe. So we're just adjusting. We're adding a bit of fuel at 4,000 and 5,000. I've already adjusted it once, so 3,000 is fine. So 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, and also just a little bit on progression as well, up to full power. I think the full power fueling is going to be actually okay on this needle, but proof's in the pudding. So let's get on and get it done. So tune-up's all done, engine's running, carb's all dialed in, she's on the money. As we can see, it sounds fantastic. Just to summarise, we've got a 1.4 ohm coil, we've got 25 thou plug gaps on the original plugs, we've got a new fresh rebuilt ACDodd Fast Road carburetor, ended up with 20 weight oil in the dash pot, got a BDR needle, yellow spring, custom needle in there to give us the right fueling. The original distributor was fine and the timing was fine, so she's good to go for a road test. Okay, so obviously after the needle modifications we can hear there, that engine ran really strong. The owner was very happy with the performance, telling me like it'd never gone as well, which is excellent to hear. Timing wise, we never needed to adjust the timing, because once we corrected the fueling, the burn lines corrected themselves on the plugs and everything else. So the actual timing setting was untouched. That was exactly as I came to the vehicle. So what we'll now see is the spark plug after the test drive. So you can see what I'm saying is that the original plugs, which I never cleaned themselves up on the test drive, and obviously indicates that everything is running exactly how I wanted it to. Okay, so got the spark plug out. As we can see, that's spark plug number 2. So if you compare that to how it was in the beginning, I've not cleaned that, that's cleaned itself. So that engine is now running beautifully. Okay, so here we are, we're in Bristol, and we've got this nice little road racer. I think it's an ongoing project. And under the bonnet beats the heart of a 998 A series. And I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's not the smoothest running of engines. But what we'll do is we'll have a chat with the owner and see why he's called us down. Okay, so this is Harvey. Harvey's the owner of this nice little road racing Mini. So why have you called us down today, Harvey?
The car's just not running 100% smoothly. Thought we were best in the game, so I thought I'd give you a call.
All right. Well, there goes high praise indeed. So when you say it's not running smoothly, what's it like to drive?
You pull off and it cough and splutter, and it doesn't quite, have that power instantly. And then, as soon as you get down the road a bit more, it revs right out. And same when you change into the next gear. So.
Okay, so it's just not. Has it got lots of power when it's going, or was it just lackluster?
Yeah, when the revs build up, it gets all the power it needs.
Okay.
When at the beginning, it's not very smooth.
Flat spots. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's have a dig in and see what we can find.
Perfect.
Okay, so engine's off now, but we was just warming it up. So quick initial impression. We've obviously got some sort of electronic ignition on there. Looks like it's only a 3 ohm coil. We've got looks like full 12 volt to it, no ballast. So I think the first thing to do is, as ever, we'll start with the coil and we'll see what we can find. Okay, looking at the spark plugs. First off, they don't look too bad. They're all kind of even. However, what we have got is the wrong heat range and their resistor plugs, so they should be cleaner than that. So clearly the engine's not running too rich, but we've got a heat range, which means it's not burning the crap off the end of the plugs, and we've also got a massive spark plug gap. So let's get a new set of BP5 spark plugs, non-resistor fitted, gapped at 25 thou, and then we will go back and look at the rest of the system. Okay, so having got into this one already, HC leads are good, the spark plugs have been changed, we're now BP5's gapped to 25 thou. The timing curve in the distributor is actually pretty good, so the vacuum unit's all working, so we're going to leave that as it is. But what we are now going to do is change that 3 ohm coil for a 1.4 ohm, just to get the most out of this system and give us a nice fat spark. And then I fear our biggest issue lies in the carburetor and its tuning. So we'll get the ignition done and then we'll focus on the carb. So here's another example of a car that's been upgraded to electronic ignition, and yet again it's actually a backward step, because somebody's taken the original coil off of that engine and replaced it with a 3 ohm coil. And what they've actually done is effectively half the power of the ignition system again. And what you have to remember is you've got a 3 ohm coil, and that's a variable dwell dizzy, so that's just cutting the power down again. So not only have you gone backwards in the coil power, you've actually cut that coil power down again by running a variable dwell dizzy. So this is very common, so it's nothing to do with this particular owner. Everybody does it, and they believe that they're fitting an ignition system and actually making the car better. In actual fact, they're actually reducing the performance, and not necessarily the full power. They're reducing the economy and the part throttle drivability, and the ability to be able to light off a lean fuel mix to get a good part throttle running and good a good feel on the throttle when you're driving the car around town and things like that. So it's really important to understand that if you have a variable dwell dizzy, you know, a 3 ohm coil is not what you should be using. You need a 1.5 ohm coil or even higher if you've got a module that will run that. Okay, so engine wise, yeah, we're down to the carburetor now, and interestingly, this engine wants to fuel with a fairly standard needle. So we've taken the needle out, which wasn't actually assembled properly. So I don't know if we can see that. Effectively, the top out on that needle has not been pushed on far enough. So we've changed that. We've also changed the spring because it's compressed. So I've put a new spring in. So even though that's a rebuilt carburetor, rebuilt doesn't mean new. So a lot of people, when they do these, skimp on the cost of fitting springs and various bits and pieces. But actually, in reality, you know, things like springs should really be replaced. Anyway, long story short, we put a new spring in. We've fitted one of my new ABF 1131 hybrid dampers. What was happening was, with thick oil, the piston was still rising too fast. So I put the new damper in, and we've put 2050 engine oil in, and as we can see, that goes up nice and slowly now, and then it still drops nice and fast. So the hybrid dampers fix that. Over to the needle lathe. So needle wise, we had an ADE needle which wasn't quite right, so I tried an AAE, and that was actually a bit too rich. So what we've done is I've used an AAC, a used needle, which was just a touch lean. So I've now modified that needle, added more fuel at the top end, and hopefully this should be somewhere near right. Okay, so this was also an interesting one to talk about, purely because the interesting thing here is that this is a 998 car, which doesn't need anything like a 998 stage 1 needle, because obviously that's what's fitted to the engine. And this is my point, okay? When you come to tune these cars, you can't just say that it needs a stage 1 needle, it needs this, it needs that. You have to look at every single one. Now, in this particular car, needed a needle that was very close to standard, okay? The part throttle fueling was very close to standard, but the full power fueling, it needed enrichment. So any of the needles that you would have chosen just wouldn't have worked with this engine. So that's what I'm trying to get across here, that every engine needs a different needle, and in this particular case it was a slight oddball because it didn't fall into the usual sort of needles, which is the whole point of having me out to tune your car. So that's idling, all finished now. As you can see, that's nice and steady. It's because it's got a rebuilt carb on it. So going over to the engine, got it all dialed in. So to summarise, 1.4 ohm coil. We've got the original Dizzy on there that came with the car. It's got no ballast cable on it now. We've got some BP5 spark plugs, gapped at 25 thou. Got an AAC needle that's been modified. Got a new red spring and a new hybrid damper. So yeah, we're going to send the owner out in it now and see what he thinks. Okay, so Harvey's been out in his car, and what's it like? Oh, he's already smiling.
Runs smoothly, no coughing, spluttering, clean power all the way, consistent, no problems at all.
So what you're basically describing is it's totally opposite to how it was earlier.
Absolutely, different car, completely.
Wonderful. And after you've had this experience, would you recommend this to anyone else?
100%, all day long.
All right. Well, thanks for getting me out today. I really appreciate that, and I was glad I was able to make your car run a lot better.
Thank you very much.
So we come to the end of this particular episode. I just wanted to add there, as usual, I took the spark plug out just to make sure that the engine was burning right after the test drive, which it was. The owner was obviously very happy with that, as you could see in the video. So all that remains to say is thank you very much for watching this episode. Please like, subscribe and share. And I'll see you soon on the next one. Thank you very much.